back to the Telos of Tech podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's just me and Nick, once again, the original co-hosts.
Hopefully for the last time in a while, because I really do enjoy hanging out with Randy. When he's not making me annoyed!
And he's on sponsor duty again this week, I think.
No, I don't think he is. He's not. He has the entire week off this week. Actually, he's not taking the week off as much as he is not doing his new job of getting us sponsorships. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no one's going to see Randy this week. Unless maybe I throw like a picture up of him right here, right now.
I will remember you. Hopefully he can come back next week and there'll be lots to talk about. How are you, Nick? How's life?
I'm doing really good. Life's pretty good. Still rocking the no Apple Watch challenge.
How's that Apple Watch challenge?
It's going pretty good.
Okay.
You know, I've kind of at this point forgot why I need an Apple Watch.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now you feel like it's unnecessary? You gotten to that point?
Not that it's unnecessary. I mean, I still do miss having my texts come through, but at the same time, most of the time I'm wearing an AirPod anyway, so Siri just reads them. And
oh, really? You wear them that often?
Pretty much. I mean, if I'm not sitting at my desk here, you know, working, I'm wearing AirPods. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the phone calls and messages that are going to bring me back. And actually, announcement for the whole show, I did end up buying another Apple Watch. Hasn't arrived yet.
Okay.
So
cool.
I've said for a long time that I wanted to switch to the stainless steel silver one because
Ooh.
I really don't like the gold.
I like that one.
You do?
That one's good.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about getting that. So I just saw the shipment notification a couple days ago. So we'll see when it arrives from the slow boat from wherever it's coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, excited to get back on the Apple Watch.
That's
train.
great.
And yeah.
You get to experience for the first time all over again.
Yeah, get to experience
feel like brand new.
Exact same Apple Watch I had before, Series 4, just in a different color.
Yeah.
But
are you pretty set on, well, because you're not sure if you're getting a new iPhone this year, right?
I am still not sure. I'm waffling back and forth. If I do get a new iPhone, it's probably going to be the smaller Pro. Although if the 12 mini is looking pretty good, I'd definitely consider the 12 mini, but it won't have telephoto, which is a huge
you like
downside.
telephoto.
I love telephoto. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of, my Sony crapped out on me this morning, so we're recording on the backup, which is why I look like a potato again. So thank you, iPhone 10.
And I always look like a potato because I'm using a OnePlus to record this.
I thought I just saw you did a whole Twitch stream saying taking a break from Android. What was
other
that
than
all
this
about?
one,
Okay.
other than this one thing, yeah. Basically, to summarize, for those who didn't catch that live stream, I think that Androids, because there's so many phones that come out each year, are a lot closer to reaching the singularity of all smartphones being basically identical hardware with very tiny differences. And it basically comes down to software preferences. Someone prefers Android and will live and die by it, and someone prefers iOS and will live and die by it. And the hardware becomes more and more the same. You know, just imagining a few years from now, let's say all phones have 120 hertz, all phones have 3 or 4 or 5 cameras, and they're all great computationally. They all got HDR, they all got night mode, they've got front-facing cameras. Everything starts becoming the same. And I reviewed 2 very, very different Androids last month with the Surface Duo and the Z Fold 2, which were new form factors, new approaches. But I feel like other than those, which I don't think we get that often, they're kind of once a year type releases. Other than those, we're just going to get a whole lot more of things like the Pixel, which launched this past week.
I totally had no idea that event was coming up. The only reason why I knew about it is because you tweeted out your video. You know, every time you tweet, you're the only person I have notifications on, just so I don't miss what's going on in the Twitterverse. But it was like Telos of Tech tweeted Pixel 5 Google, you know, whatever your video title was, and I was just like.
I actually was really proud of that title. It was So There Was a Google Event today.
So there was a Google event, exactly. Yeah,
because that was everyone's immediate reaction when I brought it up, is everyone kept saying, Wait, that's today? That was that was happening now?
Zero clue it happened, and I was like, oh well, glad I didn't waste any time watching this event because I didn't need to. Ooh, we're gonna make a slightly better Pixel 4a and call it 4a 5G, which is super convenient to say. It's like
4a 5G and Pixel 5, both of which come in 2 colors, and then their Chromecast dongle comes in 3 colors, which I just Google.
Well, and those speaker things,
you never surprise
me. They
me.
come in the exact same colors as the new iPad Air will come in. And
yes, I also thought that was funny. I showed it to my wife, and she said, "Is that a HomePod?" And I said, "No, that's the Nest Audio." She was like, "It looks exactly like the HomePod." But I mean, it's a lot cheaper than a HomePod, so I'll give him that. But yeah, it was. Other than the Galaxy Unpacked Part 2, I think it was the shortest event. I think it was the only Google event this year. I can't think of another one unless it was some type of off the books because they didn't have Google I/O.
Event? When was the Pixel 4 event?
Last year. That was 2019. And I think that was like an hour.
That was, my gosh, we're already in October. I have no idea where my 2020 went, but it went into a dumpster
I know,
fire
the year
of some
just
sort.
feels odd because everything that we're used to having by now isn't out yet, and we all
still feels like the
have
middle
been
of summer
staying
because I'm
home.
still waiting for the iPhone.
Right. It doesn't feel like that's why I did today, at least at the time of recording this, I did a video on the 2021 iPhones.
Oh no.
Already
Oh, no.
Because I was saying, hey, guess what, Nick? Those are less than a year away.
No. Oh my gosh.
They come out in September. We only got 11 months until
November's
those
the
iPhones.
new normal.
I don't think it will be. I think September is where it would have been, but on the earnings call they said it'll ship a few weeks later than usual. Now I'm finding out that meant a month or so.
Yeah.
5, 6, a few weeks later, but
12, 13, just a few.
Yeah. Basically, my point was the typical Androids are just going to be iterations of what I've already reviewed, whether it's S20 Ultra or Pixel 4a or OnePlus 8. It's all just, where do you want your camera hole? Do you want it in the center? Do you want it off to the side? Like, that's what it all comes down to. And iPhones are going to face the same problem too, because they're kind of running out of functional features to add, but because the hardware is somewhat behind where a lot of Androids are today, they have some time to make up.
And the
have
software.
some more noticeable.
I mean, people don't get an iPhone
Yes.
for the hardware typically. They get it for iOS, and so that's something
True.
that Apple's never going to have to worry about. People who want an iPhone will get an iPhone. There's no... I mean, maybe they'll get a used iPhone, which is kind of Apple competing with itself. But at the end of the day, you're going to be on that Apple ecosystem paying $29.99 for that Apple Premier, Apple One Premier membership.
I had a theory about that because there's been a lot of growing rumors today as of recording that Apple is going to give a bunch of exclusives to the 12 Pro Max that aren't on the 12 Pro.
Just software exclusives?
So, not software, but some hardware things like Love to Dream, who has a pretty reputable track record, recently said that LiDAR will only be on the Max, and it won't be on the 12 Pro. And they'll also only give millimeter wave 5G to the Pro Max and not the regular Pro. And of course, that's the Pro Max is the biggest iPhone you can get. There's no other way to get that 6.7-inch panel. So it has a bunch of unique exclusives to it. And that makes me wonder if, because more and more these days it feels like the 6.1-inch Pro is not going to be worth the money compared to just getting a regular iPhone 12 for hundreds of dollars less, if maybe the pros are going to throw in Apple One for a more extended period of time to try to incentivize the deal. Because, that's something they can change at the last minute.
Yeah.
Hardware, mass production, that they've already had to decide on. Like, there's no going back on the hardware. But the services and what they include with each purchase, that they could still be discussing. That could still be on the table. They're like, do we want to bring that up? Do we want to include this? Kind of like TV Plus free for a year last year.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with this year's iPhones? But definitely won't change my mind about it.
No. Huh. So...
Won't persuade me.
You're saying like maybe a year or like 3 months of an Apple,
I don't know about
premiere
a
or something?
year because they've already done a year of TV Plus, and this is probably like TV Plus was in Apple's terms an equivalent of $50 of subscription. Because if you subscribe to TV Plus for a full year, which mine's about to run out, by the way,
Me too.
end of October, I'm going to cancel. I watched 2 full shows,
Okay.
I think, and that was it. And no, and honestly, I
Which
don't
were
know
the
if I
2
talked
shows?
about it. The Servant
Okay.
with M Night by M Night
I haven't
Shyamalan, which
watched
was
that one, but
don't watch it.
okay.
It's bad.
I'm
I
not
didn't
into
enjoy
horror
it.
type things.
No, I mean it's not even that
Oh.
horror. It's advertised like it, but it was really just suspense, and then without much release at the end. There was a lot of build up, so it was somewhat interesting, and then the ending was just confusing, and I didn't get it. And then Trying, which me and my wife recently finished, which was more of a comedy, and it was about a couple that's trying to adopt a child, and it was pretty good. That was probably my favorite show, but I also wanted to mention that we started watching it on my iPad Pro, and there were dropped frames
Yep.
throughout.
Yep.
Did you
I've-
ever
I've-
see that?
I've had that happen with Apple TV Plus.
Wow.
Either it's
Okay, it's
really
not just
good,
me.
either it's really good and it looks like it's streaming in 4K, or it looks like it's 320p with half a frame a second, and you're just like,
Yeah.
"Ew." I think there are a few things that really bug me with iOS, and there are 2 default apps: the Apple TV app and the Apple Books app. Both of those apps are literally garbage. Like is as much Chris Traeger as I can kind of focus
Literally.
in. It's literally garbage. And
Oh, okay.
both of them are. With the Apple TV Plus app, it has problems streaming. If you're watching, I was watching Tehran. That's a new like spy. And I just watched the first 3 episodes. And
I saw
I'm
that,
not
yeah, trailer
super
for it.
interested in it. I mean, it's
Okay.
not amazing, but it passed the time while I was cleaning up around the house
Yeah, yeah.
last Saturday.
Sure.
But anyway, I
Sure.
was watching that, and I picked up my iPad to just move it like to another spot on this table here so that I could see it a little bit better. And the way like normally iPad's pretty good about thumb rejection when you're picking stuff up and moving it, and that's
Yeah.
normally not a problem. But for some reason, the Apple TV app thought that I wanted to close the video because for some reason it's using the default stock, Safari type web player
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Apple TV Plus, and you can like swipe down from the middle of it and close the video instead of having to click the little X button. For some reason, it thought I was trying to do that. I was in the middle of like the second episode or something, right? And so it thought I was it thought I was swiping down, so it closed the video and it brought me back to the main page of the series. And so then I was like, okay, so I went to click on the second episode. It started from the beginning, and I was like,
Okay, so it's not just me.
Why?
We have the Apple TV app on a Roku and on my iPad, and we started on the iPad, but then the frame drops kept happening.
Yeah.
So he said, well, maybe something's wrong with the iPad, or maybe because it is running a dev beta or something. So I was like, I
And
don't
this
know
is not running
what the
any
problem
betas
is.
whatsoever. It's on
Oh, okay.
13.6 or something still. It's not even on
Yeah.
14 yet.
So I discovered that was not the issue because we switched to the Roku, and for one, it didn't remember where we left off despite being logged in. I mean, it's the same Apple ID on both accounts.
YouTube does that so well. You can stop
I know.
and-
Well, I mean, everyone does it. Like we've
Netflix,
watched
yeah.
Disney Plus, we've watched Netflix on our iPads and our TV that are at 4K, HDR, never had a problem. Never had frame drops, never had issues like figuring out where I left off. And yet TV Plus of all services is the one that seems to be having this issue for me.
Right.
So there has been literally nothing to convince me to keep paying for it. I mean, for one, the shows I wouldn't put a $5 a month price on, and also they're lacking in lagging in certain aspects that should be fundamental, should be super easy, basic stuff to get. Very surprised to see Apple, this $1 trillion company,
I know.
unable to do it.
And they
But,
just have these terrible native apps. Like you think of Apple,
Yeah.
the default mail app, the best mail app I've ever seen on iOS.
I really
Safari,
like it. I've
the
seen
best
some people
web
complain
browser.
about it. But
They can go take a hike over to the Android side. I love you guys.
I really like the iOS Stocks app.
The Stocks app, yeah, that's a great app because
It's very
integrates News
basic.
Plus into it.
and simple. Well, they don't. You know what I found is I actually enjoy reading the news more through the Stocks app than the Apple News app because Apple News is always trying to push News Plus, whereas I don't get that on the Stocks app.
That's
they don't
kinda
bring
what
it
I
up.
meant. Yeah, Apple News, not the Plus in particular. But yeah.
So if you want the non-Apple News Plus news, just use Stocks. It's actually all just there,
and that's
you
curated
can
by
read the
company.
articles.
So if you want to see Apple stuff, you go to the Apple app or the Apple Stocks, and
yeah.
they make great.
Google
apps.
doesn't have that. I've noticed. On Android
Stocks
phones
app?
and on Samsung phones, there's no first-party Stocks app. And typically, the go-to app for most of those apps is Robinhood. But because Robinhood is like an investment app, you have to unlock it every time. So even if you close it for 5 seconds and go back, you have to put your fingerprint back on the reader. Or whereas the Stocks app, there's no pass because you're just watching the stocks, which I like. It's just the dark mode looks good. The little ticker when you look up at news. And the stuff I love it. It's wonderful.
And you can adjust the graphs pretty easily, and
yes,
it's pretty responsive. Yeah, and that's the quality of Apple apps that I'm used to, and that's for a service that we're not paying for, right?
Yeah, that's a free
Apple TV Plus is paid $4.99 a month, or if you bought a new iPhone back in 2019, you got it for a year, and it's subpar. It's very much subpar. But there are times when I watched Greyhound on my iPad one time. It was
once
glorious.
a week you watch Greyhound.
It was glorious for minutes of it. And then other times it was just a pixelated mess, actually, now that I'm remembering. Because, there were some like fog scenes that whatever compression thing was just squares. I was,
you know what Tom Hanks was referring to now.
Yeah. I don't know. But there were times in that movie where like it would switch between, infinite 4K and pick potato, and it's just confusing. Like, just be consistent, Apple, please. And I know we're complaining about it, but man, it's not that hard to fix, guys. I mean, Disney Plus figured this out. They've never made an app before, and it's great.
Not that I know of.
I mean,
not a video stream. I think they made some
Disney XD or something, but
some gaming stuff. But yeah, for the most part, Apple should not have these types of issues, especially a year after the service has launched. And we also had the same frame drops and lag on the Roku, which again, never had that. We for a time, we don't anymore, but we had Netflix on there, and it did 4K HDR. Disney Plus did it. Never been a problem. This is the first streaming service I've ever had these type of technical issues with, which I'm disappointed by because I like Apple. But all that to root back to, I think there's a decent chance you and I are gonna get more TV Plus just because we're buying new iPhones, and they're gonna partner. I think maybe they'll give the Pro iPhones Apple One Premiere for 3 or 6 months or something. Okay. And then the entry-level iPhones will get 3 months of the just Apple individual tier, like the cheap Apple
All of those
one.
come with TV Plus, right?
Yes. The cheapest one comes with Music, TV Plus, Arcade, and News Plus,
but it doesn't come with Fitness?
No, Fitness is a premier thing, but I got my Series 6, so I'm getting that anyway.
Whenever you, that stack launches. Those members? Can you, I don't know.
I'm guessing no, because
it's per
on Apple's website for Apple One, I think they said something like free month, free trial if you haven't used the free trial already, or something like that. Okay. I'm looking for it here. Any services you haven't already tried are free for the first month. That was the word I was looking for. So basically, I think that if I did Apple One individual, I would only get 50 gigs extra of iCloud storage for 30 days, and then that would be it. Then it'd be over. Because I've tried Arcade, I tried TV Plus.
I haven't. Tried
News
Arcade
Plus
yet.
is not included with individual. Never mind.
I need those GIFs on my magazines, folks. Super important.
Yeah, I'll take the extra 2 terabytes of iCloud storage for 30 days with Apple Premiere.
Yeah, what do you do with that, though? You fill it up, and then it'll just give you errors when it disappears. It'll be like...
I don't know.
I know, right?
I can't think of anything.
So this is a good question for you, Drew. What subscriptions do you currently have, and which ones are you talking about canceling, either paid or free right now?
So I think the only Apple subscription I have is iCloud.
Not just Apple, all subscriptions.
Oh, anything. Are we counting utilities?
No. digital.
So we're not counting like my power and water bill.
No.
Okay, so just subscription. Well, I have a sheet somewhere on my phone. I'm pretty sure it's Over. I'm still a annual subscriber to the Over Pro, which allows you to $50 a year, which ends up being around $4 a month. And I use that every day for my video thumbnails. It makes it super easy to find like stuff that's already transparent for thumbnails and background stuff. So I enjoy that. So I still subscribe to that. iCloud, of course, still $9.99 a month, and we're using close to a terabyte. So I feel like that's utilized, and it's cheaper than buying the higher storage option on the iPhone each year. So I somewhat justify it, though it sounds like the Pros are going to have 128 gig. So now I'm wondering, could I downgrade iCloud? Maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
The downgrade from 2 terabytes, though, is pretty painful, just down to 200. You're like...
Yeah, that's true. I would have to find a place for a lot of photos and videos on the cloud I have. That's what most of it is. So the other thing I have is YouTube Premium, which costs me $14.99 a month, but I have 4 people paying me back $3 each. So ends up costing about $3 a month. That's where I get my YouTube music, and I watch YouTube more than anything. So I still have that. What else? Let me think. I should look at my Apple Card because that's pretty much where all my memberships are. Apple Card's not a membership, but that is a service I use. So I guess I'll bring that up. I think that's it when it comes to like entertainment and things I'm subscribed to.
Netflix. We shared.
Nope, we canceled Netflix a few months ago. Haven't signed up for Disney Plus. We're just using the free year from you, I think.
Which is a free year from Verizon. So shout out to Verizon.
Oh,
one of the good
thanks,
things
Verizon.
they ever did in life.
You did something good with your company. But that's expiring soon, I think.
It is, yeah. I'm actually on the fence about canceling or renewing on that.
You're not sure?
Kind of want to renew just because I really want to see season 2 of The Mandalorian. But
yeah, sure.
If I'm going to renew it, I'm not going to do the monthly subscription. I'm going to do the annual subscription. But if I do the annual subscription, then I'm going to be in this every single year. I want to see the next season of Mandalorian.
Yeah, they planned that well, didn't they?
I'm sure they did. Yeah,
they mapped that out. Be like, make sure Mandalorian drops.
Episodes. Yeah, it drops like a couple days before my I should be able to watch episode 1 or 2 before the thing cancels. And at that point, I'm just be like, I need to watch this.
They know what they're doing.
They do.
But
Disney,
yeah,
Disney
at this
did
point,
it well. Apple just not so much.
No, though there hasn't been anything on Disney Plus that I would keep paying. Like even if it was $1 a month, I wouldn't do it. Like we don't use it that much. We used it for Mandalorian and a few Pixar movies here and there, but pretty rarely. I wouldn't put a price on it. For free, I'll take it, but I wouldn't put a penny. I wouldn't pay a penny for it. So I think that's pretty much all my subscriptions. If we're just talking entertainment, there's obviously lots of utilities, but or homeowners insurance and that kind of thing. But I think that's it. Okay. What about you?
So let's see. I canceled Apple Music. So I was like, where's my phone? My phone is using to record the video right now. So maybe I can pull up on the Mac here. I don't know. I haven't looked at this recently. Maybe it'll show me all my. Of course.
I think we're getting good at detaching ourselves because I don't know about some people because I know a lot of our listeners are big fans of Apple One and all their memberships. But I just have so much subscription fatigue. Mm-hmm. You know, just how many sites want to take a monthly expense out of you. It's just it's killing me. It adds up, and it looks so small at first. Though I will say, the one membership I'm very close to subscribing to.
Ooh!
Out of all the memberships announced in the past year and all the different monthly costs, the one I'm very much considering is Netflix. That's on my top. If I had to pick something,
going back to Netflix. Why?
Yes, because, well, for one, we canceled it, and then not long after we canceled it, we had a friend over who signed in, and they left it signed in, and they didn't care that we were using it. So we were reaping the benefits of Netflix without paying for it. And then...
so you guys currently have Netflix? or no?
We don't have it anymore because they downgraded their plan so that they couldn't have like 4 simultaneous screens. So we got booted off of theirs, and then my dad came over and signed in to his.
Nice.
So we got Netflix through my dad's account, which he's had. He subscribed to Netflix before we had decent internet. He was using it
Same
for
with my
DVDs.
parents. Yeah, same with my parents. They had the DVD or the original Netflix that turned into DVD.com.
Right. They were big fans of Netflix back when it was competing with Blockbuster, if you can remember that.
Yeah,
Where
Blockbuster. There's a
hey,
name.
There's no late fee. You can hold on to the DVD as long as you
talking
want.
about old video services here.
We're not
Back
helping
in my
the
day,
boomer
we
arguments.
used Blockbuster.
Remember when they would send DVDs over
in
the mail?
And when you couldn't
Yeah,
find it,
well,
you
he
couldn't
finally-
get the next video until you found it, and you're sitting there looking through your entire video library looking for
remember
that. It's like, no.
I was so excited to get those little sleeves in the mail. Anyway,
and you could organize
he
your
finally
queue.
canceled.
That was fun.
That was fun. I remember they had a whole bit in the office about that.
They did.
That did not age well. But yeah, he finally canceled his because he felt like he wasn't utilizing it. So we have now finally stopped piggybacking off of others with Netflix. And man, out of all the streaming services I've messed around with, between Prime Video, Hulu, TV Plus, Disney Plus, all that, Netflix, in my opinion, had the best catalog. Like, they had the most high quality shows and movies to choose from, in my opinion. And there's a lot of stuff that was still on Netflix that I wish I could watch, but I can't. And they're kind of expensive compared to others, compared to Disney Plus or TV Plus. They're like $9 a month for the cheapest plan, and that doesn't even include HD.
Yep.
It's like 480p for $9 a month, and then if you want 1080p, I think it's like $13 a month or something like that. But I think it's worth it. Okay. Personally, I need to convince my wife that it's worth it. But,
what exactly do you want from it? Like, is it Office and Parks and Rec that you want, or like?
Haven't been watching those much recently, but I just recall always like we use a lot of free streaming services these days. So the Roku has a built-in channel that includes free movies and shows. They have ads, which I'm not a fan of, but they are free. And then there's also Vudu, which has a free selection. It's not a good one. It's bottom of the barrel movies, but occasionally you'll find, and also YouTube even has some free movies that you can watch, which we've done quite a bit of recently, and the quality is actually pretty good, and there weren't ads on it, so I enjoyed watching movies there. But between all of those different services and just like opening the app and browsing between what shows do you have, what movies do you have, it always felt like Netflix had the most interesting ones. They had the most interesting shows and movies that I wasn't. Disney Plus just feels too built around kids, which I guess is the point of it and stuff. But we don't have kids.
Disney movie?
Yeah, I mean they own Deadpool, but
that's out there.
Disney Plus is mainly built around the family stuff, and it's me and my wife. There's no kids, so we browse around and we're like, okay, nothing's that interesting. And Netflix just always had something. Like, between all the sites we would go between, Netflix always had something we enjoyed. We were like, oh, I didn't know about this old like comedy from 2010. Let's try it, and we'd watch it and it'd be really good. Or they would just always have desirable picks, whereas all the free streaming services get the bottom of the barrel movies no one wants, and Disney Plus is all built around family, and TV Plus just feels like Apple wants to get as many Emmys as possible. That's all they care about. But Netflix just felt like it had the widest variety. It felt like you got the most out of it. So we're not subscribed to it yet, but if there was a subscription I would pick up, that would be it. I don't miss Apple Music at all, for the record.
Yeah, I don't miss Apple Music at all either. I'm very, very happy that I got you, Randy, and myself off Apple Music.
Yeah, you started the trend.
That is something I'm going to hang on my wall in the background.
I only bring that up because I did the video on why I canceled Apple Music, and people were just straight up offended, very angry. Oh, no. And there were also tons of people saying, "You'll be back. Don't worry. You'll be back. Just give him a week." And I was like, I've actually not had it for like 6 weeks now, and I haven't noticed. So I'm setting the record straight.
Yep.
Don't miss it. Haven't used it. I still technically, it's active until the end of the month, but I haven't opened the app. It's just been closed. Haven't used it at all. So
So back to the streaming services. I mean,
Yeah,
I have iCloud, 2 terabytes.
Mm-hmm.
I have Disney Plus for free right now. That's the one I'm on the fence about renewing. Um, I have a platinum card, and because no one's traveling, I know, shocking, right? We've never talked about this before, but since no one's traveling, they switched some of the travel benefits around to do streaming services. So I now get a
Oh.
$20 or $30 a month streaming service credit. So any
Whoa.
streaming service I have on that card, I get a credit for that instead of the travel benefits that I would have been getting. Yeah. So
That's pretty nice.
that's why
honest.
I have Peacock. I have the NBC Peacock.
Oh,
thing,
that's right.
And
I forgot.
I'm only going to use that till the end of the year because that's when the credit will not renew.
Oh, okay.
But I've been pleasantly surprised with Peacock. They have a bunch of. When I watch a show, when I sit down to be entertained, I want to watch something basically nostalgic. At this point, I'm pretty much just giving up on new content. I mean, there's an occasional one or two movies that I actually enjoy, but like my time is quite limited. And if I'm gonna sit down and watch something, I don't want to be disappointed. So I'd rather watch something that I know I'm gonna enjoy, instead of watching something where I might be disappointed at the end and wish that I didn't waste my time watching it.
Sure.
So I own a lot of stuff on iTunes. I've been building up my iTunes library. When The Office was on sale and Parks and Rec were on sale and Burn Notice was on sale, I went ahead and just bought those on iTunes. And
Pretty good idea. I was thinking about doing that myself lately, just because of how we view recurring expenses versus one-time expenses. Yeah.
Right. And it's actually kind of nice because at this point I've bought a lot of the movies that I want to watch regularly, right? Like Wall-E, The Princess Bride, The Office, good. I mean, Idiocracy, all these movies that are movies that I enjoy and I don't mind watching. I now just have them. And so it's kind of freeing where okay, I do enjoy Disney Plus because they have all of the Pixar catalog, which is my childhood basically. So anytime I want to get nostalgic and cry over some toys that are getting left behind, I can cry over
Or all the Star Wars in 4K.
Even Star Wars, I haven't really watched. Actually, I did watch Solo. Actually, no, it's the third time I watched Solo last week.
I just mean sometimes you get on your nostalgia trips and you want to watch the old stuff.
So that's kind of why I like Disney Plus, because Disney has all of my childhood, and pretty much all I watch these days are pretty much nostalgia based stuff. And so I think Disney Plus, if there's anything that I'm going to be paying for in the coming year besides YouTube Premium, it's going to be Disney Plus. Because I don't know, I'm just so attached to the.
Are you thinking of using your Amex credit on at least a few more months of Disney Plus, or
so it has to be a monthly subscription the way it works out. So they have some pretty complicated. Also, I get $50 back on my cell bill every month as part of the credit shift that they did.
Oh, okay. I forgot you spend more than $50 on yourself.
I know, right?
I guess with Verizon that's expected.
Exactly, but hey, got Apple. Disney Plus free for a year. Thank you, Verizon.
Thank you.
No,
appreciate it.
They just threw some of the change, just the rounding errors from the amount of money that I've sent them over the years. They just threw that back in the form of Disney Plus. But yes, actually, I have. They're pretty sophisticated on how they actually charge those credits back. They're pretty good and able to tell what is an iTunes purchase and what is a recurring subscription. Anyway, it's pretty interesting how they do that. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna be buying everything outright for a year, right? That's not outright, but it makes a lot more sense to do that. But anyway, I don't know. It's kind of that time of the year where there's some exciting new shows coming out, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch The Mandalorian season 2. That would be kind of fun. But
it's carrying it for me right now. That's pretty much the only show on Disney Plus I have any interest in.
What is?
Mandalorian. That's carrying the whole subscription.
That was the show, carrying it. It's ooh.
No.
I haven't heard of that
TV
show.
Plus has nothing carrying it to me. Trying was good, but it didn't need to be a show, which is also another issue I have with a lot of these subscription services. They will turn something that should be a movie into a show because they need you to keep paying for it. They want you to be on the recurring thing. And I'm like, there's so many shows I've seen, on Netflix, for example, that Living with Yourself show with Paul Rudd in it. We watched that in one sitting. It's not like if you just binge the whole first season, I think it's like 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You could just cut off a few side plots and easily make it a 2-hour comedy, but that wouldn't help people come back paying for the service. So I get why they do it, but at the same time, I kind of hate it because I was watching Trying, and by the time the show was over, I was like, that really could have been a movie. That there's no need for that to be a what's happening next season, what happens in the next episode. Like, just no, this could have been a cute little story, but no, it has to. We have to turn this into 9 seasons somehow so we can get people coming back and keep paying for it. But yeah, I don't want to fall for it. I don't want to fall for that. Just like, well, I got to find out what happens next. If anything, I'd be the type to be like, I'm going to wait until the whole show is done airing and then subscribe for 1 month and then cancel. Just binge the show once and then be done with it. But
yeah, there is that. But there is also a little bit of convenience in just being able to. I use the Apple TV app. As bad as it is for playback, it's nice to curate like where all your streaming sources are, and I can just search, whatever I'm looking for, and if it's on Disney Plus, just open the app and takes you right to it. If it's on Peacock, it's kind of nice to just have that all at your fingertips, but it's not worth the expense. I mean, it's very nice, and I see why people justify the expense. I just don't use it enough,
because short term it's not a lot. Long term is what you want to worry about.
Exactly. And you don't actually own it, right? And that's kind of nice that I've been building up my iTunes library, and it's cost quite a bit. I think out of pocket I'm 3 or 4 years in the hole of different subscription services, but it's that knowledge that I'm going to have this as long as Apple's still a thing, as long as iTunes is still able to download and stream content.
Your income could drop to zero and you'd still have access to all that.
Still watch all of The Office multiple times.
Or these other services could raise their prices, as they have in the past, too. Exactly. So it's something else you have to worry about.
It just takes it out of your budget. And when you sit down and if you actually take the time to make a budget and you add up, like, every single month I'm spending, $50, $100, $120 a month on all of these little subscriptions that just add up, and it's like, wow, that's like $1,200 a year. Wow. And
if you stop paying for them, you don't have anything,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how they get you.
Sticks with you.
They're real sticky.
I'm just worried that I have a feeling that Apple's going to push things like the iPhone upgrade program more and more over the years, and they're just going to try to get, maybe by making it a better deal, or by making it seem like you're spending more money by buying it unlocked and outright instead of the monthly cost. And I don't want that.
I don't want the monthly cost. I mean,
I know.
After you get to a point where you're not, if you have a budget, and I don't know, it's just so painful. When I was on the Apple upgrade program, and it was just so painful every single month to see 61 whatever come out of my account every single month. Whereas when you buy something,
it's only $2 a day, Nick. Only $2 a day.
Don't start with
$3 a day.
For $3 a day, you can feed a child in Africa or buy a new iPhone. Your choice.
Or buy a new iPhone. What's the better use?
Yeah. I don't know. It's so much easier. Like, it's painful when you drop $1,400 all at once, and it's like, ugh, ouch, that hurt. But then you own it outright, and there's no pain for the rest of the ownership of the device.
Yeah, 3 years from now, you still have it. It's yours.
You literally just have it. But all these like little monthly things, or leases, or trade-in deals, it's just like, I'd much rather.
And it's going to be smarter.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be smarter as a business model for Apple to do that, knowing that iPhone upgrades will get less and less substantial. Like, that's inevitable now. Like, iPhone upgrade, like reading about what's going to happen with the iPhone 13 or 12S, whatever they end up calling it, is like, it's the same form factor, same screens, just slightly better specs, slightly higher refresh rate or slightly better camera. And it's going to get harder and harder for Apple to try to justify every year, hey, come out, get the new iPhone because it has this, this, and this. They don't want you thinking like that. They want you thinking, oh, I'm just getting the new one every year. So you don't even think about it. And it's not the iPhone 12S costs $1,000. It's to have the latest iPhone, it costs this much a month, and you're just going to keep living with that, as small as the upgrades are. Because honestly, I've seen a lot of people ask about this recently, but I don't think Apple will ever switch to not releasing a new iPhone every year.
Yeah,
I think they'll always do annual, as small as they get. They have to.
They'll be changing how many speaker holes they have and where the antenna lines are and what colors you have. And yeah, it's going to get super minor quickly. And I don't see myself not getting a new iPhone every year, at least for the next 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. Because historically, I've always been able to sell my iPhones for just about as much as I paid for them. Like my 11 Pro, I think I paid $1,200, $1,100. I can't remember exactly how much, but I sold it for $900.
You paid nothing for it, right? Because of the Amex.
I did do the Amex deal, so technically, but the cash value of those points, I valued it at I don't know, whatever it was, 11. How much was the 11 Pro base? Is that
1,100?
1,100? Okay, yeah. So I paid.
Oh no, 1,000 for the 11 Pro, and then 11 Pro Max was 1,100.
It was 1,150. Or is it just 1,100? I can't remember. Anyway,
1,100.
1,100? Okay. So I bought it for 1,100, but in August or whatever that was, I cracked the back of my phone, and I sent it back to Apple, and they sent me out a new one. And I was like, well, I might as well sell this while it's literally brand new. And I got $900 for it. And so I'm like, well,
900? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I made out on that thing. And it's like, why wouldn't I do that and, live on a drawer device for a few months, which works. It's an iPhone 10. It's fine. And honestly, it kind of helps me unplug and detox from
you get a little bit of a nostalgia month right before the new thing.
Exactly. And then it's also that much more exciting when the new one comes out because I get to, get the new one. But even this year, I'm like, maybe I don't need a new phone because this 10 works so good. I mean, the battery is literally garbage, which is why it has to be plugged in all the time. But I never leave my desk anyway, right? It can sit on the chair. It can be plugged in. It can, and it's not even like I'm using it that much. I actually updated my home screen after that Marquez video, and he showed the secret.
Oh, is that
with the
inspiring to you?
No, he showed the secret with the shortcuts, and I was like, "Dang it, Marquez! Now I'm not original because now every Yahoo knows how to go make the custom home screen that I've been using for years now. Dang it, Marquez!"
I saw that, and I hate that approach. Like you open the app, which opens Siri shortcuts, but then open the that's so dumb to me. Like I immediately saw that and was like, no, thank you. But
I liked it because it always added like a little bit of extra delayed gratification into getting into your apps. So it felt like that much more sticky to open up your apps.
Delayed gratification
by half a second, and it was kind of painful.
The guy who did the icon pack in Marquez's video made over $100,000 in a week.
What?
Because of that.
People are buying them?
The black icon pack.
What on earth?
Which
guys,
I think
get over out in your Apple Pencil. Don't buy it. PSA from the Tailosive podcast group. Do not buy icon packs for iOS. Just go make them. It's super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
I know, right? But I mean, it says a lot about. I think recently Apple published how much revenue was generated on the iOS App Store versus Android. We're not going to open up this whole App Store subject again, but I just want to emphasize what Apple has done with their 30% cut and with their strict guidelines and with their locked down ecosystem has resulted in the most successful App Store that we've ever seen, despite iOS making up a very small portion of the global mobile market. Most of the market is Android. I think it's over 60-70%. Yet iOS makes up for significant, more than majority amount of the revenue generated, which that revenue, yes, helps Apple, but it also helps the developers. It helps people make more apps and make a living based on the game they designed or the icon pack that they make. And because Apple has that closed, secure first-party experience, people are more comfortable spending money than they are on Android devices. So it's very hard to argue that they need to be more like the unsuccessful app stores because what other app stores have done have not resulted in a more successful platform that results in developers getting paid more and consumers wanting to spend more money. So like icon packs on Android, it's been a thing for a long time, but I doubt there's ever been that much money dropped within that little of time. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well,
just a different experience.
at the end of the day, I am looking forward to getting a new phone at some point. I don't know if I'll be getting it in November when they come out. I am enjoying my iPhone 10 experience. I actually got rid of all the apps off of all of my home screens, so now it's just completely blank, just with the blank dock at the bottom. And I'm using Spotlight for everything, which just adds another level of I shouldn't be using my phone. I'm ultra minimalist right now.
Oh my God, you crack me up, Nick.
Thank you.
The things you do.
I'm glad I can crack someone up. It's hard work,
you removed every app.
They're all gone. Maybe I'll Skype
They're all gone.
in 45 minutes into the show if I can stick a screenshot of my home screen. It's just completely blank. And
I'm actually trying to use the app library more because I kind of like
I still haven't really switched over to that, but I could.
I like the UI of it.
Yeah.
Especially when you open the like mini app category.
Yeah, and the animation is so nice.
I will just open my phone and do that just to see the apps and go back. Like, it's just so smooth. It's so clean compared to any other app library I've ever tried. But
the Duo.
Yeah, I mean, no, let's not go there.
Okay.
I don't want to think about the Duo ever again. But I'll be honest, I'm actually on the fence now if I want to get the Pro Max this year.
Really? Oh.
I've not been convinced now the more I read about it. And also partially because I talked about it on the Talks channel, but I'm dealing with smartphone addiction, and I feel like I spend too much time on my phone. And I've had actually a lot of good detachment lately by removing all of my work-related apps. So no Twitter, Discord, Instagram, Creator Studio. And for a while, I think I was having an issue with YouTube because I would keep going to my channel to see how my videos were doing. So I have an update on that, actually. This is a Tailosive exclusive on the podcast. I have gone back to my original non-Tailosive branded YouTube account. That's just my name, just Andrew Erickson, and it's not subscribed to any work-related channels.
Oh, wow.
And I won't change out of that account on the app. So I was hesitant because I really didn't want to delete YouTube off my phone because I use it so much. But at the same time, it was this gateway drug to help me check on my channels. I could be like, because, I just subscribe. I usually use the Tailosive Tech channel for work stuff, and that's subscribed to EV. So I can be like, oh, how's EV doing? Or I just go to my channel. How's Tech doing? How are the views going? And I realized that was kind of my gateway to be tied to work, even though I was trying to be disconnected. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have a separate channel that's not Tailosive branded, that I don't upload anything on, that I just use for consuming content. And I follow a lot of channels on there, but none of them are mine, so I'm not able to see how my views are doing or how my channel's doing. So that's worked pretty well. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to keep it on there. But I've been using my phone a lot less, obviously, because of that, and that makes me wonder, maybe I don't need the biggest display. Maybe I don't need super heavy-duty phone if this is going to be my just for personal life stuff. I'm basically using it for email, texting, finances like Apple Card and my bank. And, before I used to love the big keyboard on the big iPhones because that's where I would be typing on Discord or checking on Twitter and stuff. And now it's like, well, the only typing I'm really doing these days is like Safari and texting. So maybe,
and even then, most of the time, I text most of the time because that's one thing I enjoyed about the bigger phones, the larger keyboard. I found myself texting most of the time on my iPad. I mean, you get the full-size keyboard. There you go. And I really enjoy doing that, and I know I can do it on my Mac too. I mean, I'm really glad you're embracing this, Drew. This is really exciting. Good for you.
I haven't decided for the record yet.
Well, no, not iPhone upgrades, but just more cleansing of your cluttered digital life. And I think that's gonna pay dividends. I'm excited.
Dividends, yeah. I think so.
You will get a lot of mental clarity and hopefully some more focus. And but it's kind of hard to do. And I get that.
I'm getting a new iPhone of some kind, though. I've already verbally sold my 11 Pro Max. It's the deal has been done to my dad. And he agreed to a decent price for it. So, it's basically, mentally it's not mine anymore. I'm just waiting for the new ones. So I am getting some kind of 12 this year. I'm not exactly sure if I want to go with the Pro Max. I'm basically like, I'll watch the event and decide for myself after that, because
that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, I think we're both in that category
Except,
of like,
except
let's see.
I have 3 options here. One's just not upgrading.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I can't not upgrade. I would have to get something, but I want to see if the no, God no. Actually, I've not used my OnePlus for work related stuff anymore. I've actually just started using my iPad for all the work related stuff.
Okay.
I've kind of rediscovered my iPad, because most of the time it was just sitting at my desk with the keyboard case, but now I've actually started taking it off the keyboard case and going back to just normal iPad without the keyboard again. And I was kind of, you know what, this is nice. I'm getting my 120 hertz. I'm getting my USB-C. I still got Face ID. The bezels are thin, and it's really light. It's easy to hold.
It doesn't have micro LED.
Like, right, that's the big deciding factor. No, the more I use my iPad Pro, the more I feel like I think it's mini LED on the next Pros becomes more and more pointless. I keep thinking like, this is not a problem. Like, I'm using it right now. It looks great. I don't have any complaints. And anyway, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll end up going with a 12 mini or something. We'll see.
I think that's the one I'm leaning towards right now. Like, just with all the rumors, it's the 12.
For the price?
Yeah, it's a good balance between the price, staying in a more... I really do enjoy the iPhone X's more compact design. I know I was Pro Max for 2 years, basically, and totally embraced
the world has
that.
changed.
And I was Plus before that. I had a 6 Plus. And
the biggest is the bestest, right?
Yeah, the biggest was the bestest. But there is something to be said about just the compact nature. And I'm a big guy, right? Like, I can do the little...
You're very big.
I could do this... Thank you. Appreciate that, Drew. I'm trying. Once Fitness Plus gets going, I will be less big. No,
I'm not innocent either. We're both big boys.
Big boys. But with the iPhone 10, I can do the whole you can reach from here to here to here to here, and it's like very compact. And I don't use it for watching much video anymore. I mean, I'll watch the occasional YouTube video, but I've been so busy with work and, podcast stuff. Like, any free time is basically spent working on podcast stuff. You guys don't understand. All your audience don't understand.
Nick,
most of my
free
free time, exactly. It's all me, guys. It's all me.
It is.
But most of my free time is spent podcasting, whether that's all day Saturday recording podcasts, or, on Wednesday night, normally I record a space podcast, and there's some editing of podcasts on, the evenings. And anyway, it's kind of a all-consuming passion, which is good, and I enjoy it. But that just means I'm not wasting a lot of time on YouTube, which is kind of good. I'm doing something productive with my life, instead of watching YouTube.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it means that I'm not noticing having a 6.5-inch versus 5.8-inch display for watching YouTube. Because when I'm watching YouTube, most of the time it's when I'm doing something else, right? I'm not... These days, I'm not just sitting there watching YouTube, which is kind of what I used to do with the old phone. But yeah, so it's going to be the mini. I think the iPhone 12 mini, but the camera is going to be the huge question mark. If the 12 Pro,
I want to see if they
pretty small,
come up with some... If they come up with some kind of LiDAR feature aside from what we already got with the
Well, I should
iPad
be able to
Pro
use it
this
on
year.
my iPad too, right? Whatever that LiDAR
Yeah,
feature
you've already
is.
got LiDAR.
Yeah.
I
It's life-changing, guys. It's life-changing.
It's like slightly better for those AR demos. But if that's literally all the Pro Max camera can do, aside from telephoto lens, and that's it, yeah, I would have a much harder time justifying it just for the size of the display, because it's like, how little I'm using my phone now as I'm trying to detach and become maybe having a smaller, more compact. The keyboard is the main thing, honestly, because I remember switching to the iPhone 10 in 2017 and thinking, okay, it's kind of compact and then harder to type on compared to what I was used to with the Plus phones. So that's really the biggest thing. But if I'm texting less, then might as well live
you're
with
using
it.
your iPad quite a bit too, right? So
Nowadays, I got the split screen. I got the high refresh rate. I'm update iPad Pro is still my favorite Apple product.
Yeah.
Still unmatched. I want
I
all
would-
Apple products to be more like the iPad.
Honestly, I don't know. I've heard no rumors about that refreshed iPad Mini, but if in this September event, I'll say this on the show, so I have to stick with it. If they do a
Okay.
refreshed iPad Mini, I will not upgrade an iPhone. I'll stick with the iPhone 10, and I'll get an LTE iPad Mini
Ooh.
and use that
Wow.
as my kind of daily driver. I
What
mean,
about your
obviously-
watch?
Obviously, I'll keep the iPhone 10 for watch
Oh, okay.
purposes and phone calls and stuff. But
Yeah.
I would love a compact, either slimmer bezels or larger display of iPad Mini.
Would it need Face ID?
That'd be nice, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if it didn't have Face ID. I mean, yeah. I'd
Now
want
it
to
sounds
have
like
Face
they're
ID.
probably going to do the like the iPad Air 4 fingerprint on the power button. That's what
Is
it
there any
sounds like.
timelines on when that's coming? Because I was pretty close to buying an iPad Mini a couple weeks ago just to mess around with it.
Quo was saying early 2021, so probably around March or April.
All right, bummer. So I'll probably end
And
up
sometimes
with a new phone and
he's
an iPad
off,
Mini.
so-
Lovely. Good job, Quo.
Yeah. Maybe you could trade in your iPhone and
There you
cover
go.
that price,
There you go.
or sell it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm interested in that too because I remember thinking very similar things when I tried the iPad Mini 5 when that came out. I bought one just because I thought it'd be fun. Hadn't reviewed an iPad Mini before actually. I think that was the first time, and I like that size. It's really really small and compact.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just big enough to do some comfortable multitasking.
Yep.
Whereas if you get much smaller than the iPad Mini, that's when things are a little too crunched, like the Z Fold 2. That's where I was like, okay, this isn't quite enough. But if they were able to, the rumored iPad Mini 6 is going to have a larger display and slimmer
Same
bezels.
phone.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that would be
I'd be all for
Perfect.
that. That would be honestly. I would be more excited about that than I would be a new iPhone.
okay. The cameras would be quite a downgrade, though, I think.
I mean, that's where a sacrifice would have to be made. And assuming my Sony would just work, I have a better camera
really.
than any phone that I'd ever have. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot less exciting, I guess, this year. I think it's really because they baited us with that last event, and I was so excited to get something, and here we are.
Feels very
beginning of
overdue.
October. No iPhone.
Mhm.
All the Androids are getting their flagships out, and we're sitting here like, okay.
Is it time? Is it time yet?
Please,
Can we get
Tim.
excited now?
I know. I was already excited, and now I'm not excited, and I'm gonna have to get excited again. But I know
Do you
as soon
think
as
this
I
is our
see
last Apple event?
for
of the year?
2020. I don't know.
Because I'm starting to feel like if Gurman got a lot of this stuff right,
Yeah.
and he's
says that
saying
there's
that there's going to be a
two, right?
Mac event
Yeah.
in November.
I
Part of
don't
me is like,
know.
well, maybe there's enough stuff with the Apple Silicon Mac to fill granted a fluffy event, but still an event. Like I at this point, I'm kind of over the iPhones. I feel like we know everything, and it's just like they're late. We're just kind of waiting for Apple to confirm what we already know. But I mean, heck, we already know the A14 chip results, and we know the cameras, and we know the sizes, and it's like, come on, Apple, come on. But if they had a Mac event where they unveiled a Apple Silicon MacBook and a redesigned iMac,
And
pretty
like
cool.
a new MacBook Air, just swap the processors out for the A14X
yeah,
chip. Yeah.
yeah, just an event with two major Apple Silicon editions.
Yeah.
Would be kind of fun. I guess.
I'd be for it, and I've even said before I wouldn't mind just single device events as long as they had the same production quality, Instead
Yeah,
of just
sure.
having the iPad Pro be a site refresh, do more video type, 20-minute videos. I'd be all for that. But I think the age of getting excited for a big event is gone for a while. I mean, I think the iPhone 11 was the last event I remember being all like, woo. Dub. I was a little excited, but I don't know. It's not the same as having some hardware that you really want. But
Maybe until glasses.
I
gotta
think
wait for
Apple
that.
glasses or Apple Car. The next thing I guess would be
The
pretty
next
exciting.
big thing.
But for now, it's kind of like, all right, we know what the next iPhone's going to be like. Okay, we know what it's likely going to be MacBook Air type or MacBook 12-inch type design. We
Yeah.
pretty much know what the specs are going to be. We just do it. We're waiting. And I know supply chains are all constrained and stuff, but come on, Apple. Like, why do you think they're waiting? Like, obviously they know what it looks like. They have it all, designed. It's in mass production. So, I don't understand why they didn't show it off in September, even if the ship date's still in November. I still don't understand that. Like, we're all just sitting here waiting and miserable in 2020, which was miserable to begin with. And then Tim Apple had to go over here and make it even more miserable by
I guess they want to dominate the news cycle for longer. I mean, it definitely worked with the Time Flies event.
Reason. I mean, okay, they get some press out of it, but anytime Apple drops an iPhone, it's guaranteed to get a week of press. I mean, that's
sure. I mean,
much...
you could argue that they're still selling the 11 Pro and 11, so they're probably thinking if we unveiled
Osborne effect.
Yeah, right. If they unveiled the 12s, kind of like how when they unveiled the iPad Air, they no longer sold the Air 3.
Yeah.
So they were kind of okay with not having iPad Air 3 sales for a month in anticipation for the Air 4, whereas they probably wanted to get one last squeeze out of the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, one last month of sales right before they announced the new ones, and then, of course, discontinue maybe not all of them, but at least a few iPhone 11s. And I'm okay if they can't unveil it until October. I just wish they wouldn't have had a 1-hour mini event in September and not disclose that this isn't the iPhone event. Like that's where I had a problem is if this is all they planned on announcing in September, it should have been a site refresh. It should have been all right, here's the Series 6 and some new colors. Here's the iPad 8. And you do those like a week apart. And then maybe in the last week unveil the iPad Air 4 and say it's coming next month and it has the A14 chip. But yeah, they did not need a 1-hour event for... And if you want to start experimenting with mini events, I'd say do that at a month that you're not consistently known for launching your iPhones in. Mm-hmm. Like do that in a February or a March or something. Exactly. Don't do it in a mid-September when we're all expecting it.
An iPhone.
Yeah, and I don't think they can just rely on, well, Bloomberg said there wouldn't be iPhones, and everyone obviously knows that. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's a leak. It's based off of what people are expecting. And there were still a ton of people expecting new iPhones from what I saw. And I'm okay with a mini Mac event after the iPhone event, as long as there's at least something somewhat interesting to showcase, like new designs or... the first Apple Silicon chip in a Mac, I think, is a pretty big deal. They likely want to talk about that and the performance gains and how it handles. So doing that on stage I can get. But I also wouldn't mind if they wanted to just do that with the iPhone event and just have an actual 2-hour keynote instead of just doing 1 hour here, 1 hour here. But Osborne effect, right? I mean, that's all it is.
When are they saying? Are they still saying the 13th? I mean, we're kind of... starting our 2-week countdown on that.
If my assumptions are correct, we should get an event announcement on October 6th because last month we got the announcement a week before.
That is so rough. I know it's virtual and no one has to physically travel there, but just for tech people's schedule, let us know at least 2 weeks in advance. It's so hard to just say, okay, I have lots of work to do, but I'm just going to take the whole day off here and, talk about Apple for a day. So, I mean, I'm still going to do it.
Apple should know there's a lot of us that have to rearrange our days for these things.
Right? I know. Not everyone is just sitting there waiting, which I'm just sitting here and waiting, but multitasking.
We also have other jobs, other things to work on.
Some of us
do.
So,
come on. But yeah, last time they announced a week before the event took place, so if they do that again, then it would be October 6th. Announcing that the event will be on the 13th, and then pre-orders would start on the 16th. Deliveries would start a week from that, which would be 23rd. So, still this month.
I'm going to be traveling.
We're going to know a lot. Oh, shoot. No.
When did you say delivering starting the 23rd? Shoot.
Rumored. Yeah. Could be wrong.
Rumored, yeah. Dang.
And that's just for that's for the regular 12s, not the Pros. So.
Okay, well.
You'll have to wait a little longer for the Pros if that's what you're into.
I don't know. Can we just finish 2020 already? I'm so done with this year.
I know.
Everything's messed up.
Yeah, it
It's
feels
only getting
bizarre.
worse, folks. 2021. Buckle your seatbelts.
Buckle your seatbelts. Yeah, I mean, as iPhones become smaller and smaller upgrades, and there's less and less things to talk about each year. Like, do you think Apple Silicon Macs are going to be kind of the star of the show for the foreseeable few years?
I'm pretty excited. Like, out of all the things that I'm excited about, iPhone's been on the bottom of the list of excitement things. Like,
Pretty
it's
much,
just
yeah.
so boring, and I get it, whatever. But Apple Watch was a little bit more exciting, at least in the anticipation factor. Like, I was a little bit more excited about the Apple Watch, even though I didn't end up getting it, and I don't want it, and it's dumb because it's just new colors.
Kind of a letdown.
Exciting. Yep.
Yeah.
But it was still a little bit exciting. And the new Macs, I'm pretty excited about because, I'm currently using a nice MacBook Pro, and I use Windows on it all the time. So I don't even think these new Macs would really work for me. But I'm interested to see them and maybe get a review unit and mess around with it. But I don't know. I love my iPad too much probably at the end of the day. So
True.
we'll see.
Well, the Macs feel like they've been neglected. It feels like, especially in 2018, the iPad Pro and the Apple Watch got the thin bezel treatment, and the iPhone obviously got it in 2017. And it just got this modern 21st century look to technology that makes it stand out. Just looking at my iPad Pro, it's so cool sometimes to see how edge to edge everything is, and how the colors are, and just futuristic looking. And then you look, it's sitting right now right next to my iMac Pro, and I'm just like, you have not changed in 10 years. This is pretty much the exact same template they've went with. And same with MacBooks. I mean, they've kind of carried the same basic design trend for the past 4 years, and finally Apple making their own silicon for it should allow them to have more creativity with the internals and the cooling and the displays. And I don't know if necessarily we're going to see those drastic redesigns this year, but just knowing that they're saying mini LED. Yeah, mini LED coming to the MacBook next year should give it some new design choices. And just, it feels like the Mac lineup design-wise has been neglected a lot recently, and it's finally going to get some much-needed love.
2020/2021 is going to be for the Mac what 2017 was for the iPhone, 2018 was for the iPad and Apple Watch. It's going to be that exciting year that's probably not going to be topped for another decade as far as Mac products, and we know how slow Mac.
Honestly, how could they top, like, when they start shrinking bezels on things, it's because they're running out of ideas. Like if you're shrinking bezels on things, there's not many new design trends you can do on top of that. You get down to 95, 98% screen to body ratio, and then what? How do you make it look more futuristic than it's all display? Hologram. I guess they're always
with your
working on
LiDAR
that,
sensor.
right?
That's why we need the LiDAR sensor, folks. That's gonna
LiDAR is for Apple Glass practice. That's all it is for, I think.
I still haven't found a single use for it on the iPad, but it's there. Changing my life every morning. Wake up. Man, the LiDAR sensor. That's so cool.
We switched from PowerPC to Intel. Now we're switching from Intel to Apple Silicon. Is there another big switch they can do?
I don't think so.
Not really.
No. I think they're going to be
if anything,
Apple Silicon for the last,
This is the last big switch they can do, because they can't get really better than first party, like designing it in-house. Like, this is it.
And even if there is some other company that comes up with some super cool tech, they have $250 billion sitting in the bank. They could just buy them. And
that's true.
Okay, Intel, we own you now. Please, if whatever company comes out with cooler tech, right? Like,
they did buy their modem business.
They're just so far ahead, right? Like A14
with
chip,
silicon, yeah,
infinitely better than the best thing Android can toss at it. Even the A12Z chip is infinitely better.
But
pretty close. A14 is pretty close to Android
865.
Chips.
They're not. I mean, A14 is better, but they're not like
power efficiency, 5 nanometer
better.
process. I mean,
oh yeah, no, it's objectively better. I just wouldn't say infinitely.
Okay, fine. I guess we're on
they're
the
like
internet. Someone in the comments is, but
there were some people. I mean, just this morning, the first Geekbench rumored tests for the A14 chip were posted online, and they're good, but they're not. Some people were saying that the Snapdragon 875 might have a chance of beating it when it comes out. So it seems like A14 chip went more for power efficiency than just sheer performance. which kind of makes sense
then
if you
just
consider
stick 4 of those in a series inside of a MacBook. It has a huge battery and
that would be
smoke
nice.
everything.
Yeah, I wish they would, but like, it's weird to think the A14 chip, pretty much in any device it's going in, it'll be 60 hertz. So having this super high, like trying to beat the A12Z chip in GPU and CPU performance, what features does that really allow for? Like, you know, you can still do the same 4K at 60. You could still do the same video editing on the iPhone that you could before. The same high-intensive gaming. Like, it helps a little bit, but still, it's going to be 60 FPS at the end of the day. So might as well prioritize
recording or frame rate.
Well, just whatever you're doing, whether you're recording a video or playing a game or anything power-intensive on the phone.
The screen is going to have to be 60 hertz. They're not doing 120.
Right now, the rumors are saying no. All the iPhones are going to be 60.
All the rumor people just agree because I am so confused.
So we're not getting 120 hertz. Okay.
I've been living without. Yeah, I did a video on that a few months ago saying it's not happening, and there were many leakers who said otherwise.
YouTube.
And then
remember when I said that? I don't watch much YouTube anymore.
Some leakers said otherwise, and then changed their mind later and said, actually, no, there won't be any 120 hertz. And I was like, well. That's what we were saying. So, you know, just expect it not to happen. If it does, that'll be amazing. But pretty much all the devices rumored to get the A14 chip will be 60 hertz. So
interesting.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense to make it outperform the A12Z chip, which is being used on a device with a larger display, more pixels, and higher refresh rate. So making it perform well at 120 FPS with certain experiences makes sense for it to have that intense GPU. But with devices this small that can only do so much, it doesn't really make sense for them to go overkill on performance. Might as well help battery. So I think that was the focus.
What chip does the Pixel 5 have? I didn't actually do any research on any
Snapdragon 765G, I think. It's not the flagship. It's like the mid-tier. Well, it's only $700, so it's not like
$700 on an Android phone. You should be getting pretty flagship specs. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think the Pixel 5 is a good deal. There's much better hardware if that's what you care about. Pretty much the only thing the Pixel 5 has going for it is software that people prefer from a subjective basis. But when it comes to just sheer hardware, Samsung has them beat by far. Like the cameras in the Pixel 5 are the exact same sensors as the Pixel 3. From years ago. Like it's the same hardware, they just update the photography performance through software. And the hardware isn't
except for
that
now they
impressive.
Have a new dual camera. You know, we believe that while wide angle is fun, telephoto is the future.
Went back on that one. That guy's not with them anymore.
That guy was I hated that presenter. He had like 3 or 4 lines that just were so rude. It was like
there were so many parts of that event that we just knowingly watched thinking this is going to age horribly, and we were so right. You guys are going to get ultra wide next year. You guys are going to go back on everything.
I don't know, 3 cameras?
Why would that have been so difficult? I don't understand.
Right? They're like, well,
so many other phones these
wide
days.
angle is fun. We believe that telephoto is the future. So you couldn't have just thrown both?
Like no one else has done that? You know, actually, we've been doing it for like a year now, and they still couldn't figure out how to do 3 cameras. Like I saw people tweeting about that. Everything in the Pixel lineup contradicts itself the following year, which I find hilarious. It's always like
speakers.
Yeah. Right. Dual camera on the front. That's what's cool. Pixel 4. Actually, we don't need a dual camera on the front. What you want is air gestures and face unlock. And
yes, air gestures.
Actually, no. Never mind. No air gestures, no face unlock. How about fingerprint reader on the back again? Because that's better. So it's like, I don't understand how you can really be a Pixel fan, because every year you get excited for features that they then abandon the following year. Like, how do you...
Can you imagine being the one guy who's like, I love waving at my phone in the morning. I cannot wait for the next Pixel where they make it better and it's so fancy.
Yeah.
And just like,
And the Pixel 2 had pretty substantial bezels, even though it was coming out in 2017 alongside the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S8. So it was like, okay, if you like the Pixel 2, you had to be like, you know what, notches, camera holes, they're not that cool. Who really cares about camera cutout? You know, bezels are fine. Why do we hate bezels?
Pixel 3A.
And then the Pixel 3 comes out, and you're supposed to be like, oh, it's so exciting that the display goes edge to edge, and we have a notch now. And yeah, it's kind of ugly, but hey, it has a dual camera.
You know.
Dual camera on the front. So, hey, you know what? Going edge to edge, that's cool. That's a good thing. And fingerprint reader on the back, even though everyone else is doing fingerprint reader in the display, who cares? I don't mind. Fingerprint reader on the back is good. Then you get excited for Pixel 4. Oh, actually, bezels are fine. I don't mind forehead. I don't mind not having a notch and that kind of thing. And also, face unlock. Way better than the fingerprint reader. Who needs a fingerprint reader, right? We want face unlock. Okay, following year. Face unlock wasn't cool. Why don't we just go back to fingerprint reader? Like, it just keeps changing. There's no direction. There's, like, constant flip-flopping that... I mean, the 4A is good, but that's about it. I don't know
All the
about
A
the
lines
regular.
are pretty good. The 3A was good. The 4A was good. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
the 5G version of the 4A isn't terrible. What is? How much is it?
No.
400?
$500?
500? Yeah, it's fine.
And you
It's
get,
5G. I mean,
Yeah, you get a larger display, and you get the exact same
And the
processor.
headphone jack, because that was important.
And the headphone jack, yeah. And the other thing that makes the Pixel 5 pretty pointless is that the 4A with 5G has the exact same cameras,
okay.
exact same processor, exact same GPU, and a larger display than the Pixel 5. So, plus the headphone jack, which the Pixel 5 doesn't have. So it's like, it's cheaper and has several advantages.
Did Google even like look at the two products at the same time? Like, did they talk about Google?
I think the
Come
Pixel
on,
5
you did so good with the next lineup. Why did you have to screw this up so bad every
I
single
don't know how
year?
they keep screwing it up, but it's like the Pixel 5's job is to make the 4A look like a good deal. That's pretty much all
Honestly,
it does.
that might be what it is doing from a marketing perspective. But then I looked on Google's website after, actually, that wasn't what got me on the Google store website. YouTube Premium sent me an offer for some stupid Nest thing, and I was like, oh, they're going to give me another Nest thing, but this time it had a screen on it, but it was only $40 off a $100 product. I'm like, no thanks. But I was on their website, and I saw they had a little product section. I'm like, oh, let's see what their products are. Do you know what you can still buy in 2020 for over $1,000 that has an i7 processor in it from Google?
Is the Slate still there?
You can still buy a Pixel Slate.
They're still selling that?
Yes, they don't have the
I thought they
mid-range
have-
one, but they have the low end and the high end available for sale right now. And I was
my
like,
God, I thought they would have canceled that by now.
Gosh. Oh my
Like
gosh.
they canceled, they stopped selling the Pixel 3A. They stopped selling the Pixel 4.
Uh-huh.
But they
not
haven't
the
stopped selling the Slate?
The Slate you can still buy direct from Google. It is glorious. And all the pictures are like from 2018 or whatever it came out, right? And they're all just like
It's
the
still
most
there.
outdated bezels. And you're just sitting there like, and just remembering the Marquez review and what you did, like with the
It was
not
so
working. It's-
bad. It was so laggy.
Oh,
I mean, I haven't really followed up with it. I don't know if like they
You
improved
should
it with
buy
software,
one and
but
see in 2020. You should say Pixel Slate review in 2020.
oh my God,
It's twice as worse than it was.
that's crazy that it's still there. I can't believe they're still selling. There must be just like a bunch of them sitting in a warehouse.
You think they only made like
I doubt they're
100,000
actually
units of them.
making any.
No.
I don't think they're in production. They're just
That's why
sitting
that
somewhere.
middle range one isn't. That was probably the best deal out of all the three of them, and that's out of stock because they haven't made any. In a
They were
while.
all a bad deal. All
They-
of them.
They all were though. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, Google.
Google,
Will you ever
Google.
change?
No.
Do you think they'll make a Pixel 6?
I really hope not. I mean, they keep flipping.
We said the same
So-
thing last year about the 4. We were like,
If we're taking
better
this
just
flip-flop
stop.
approach, first year bezel, second year bezels, third year notch, fourth year bezels, fifth year camera hole, sixth year, we're going to have 100% bezel, and there's not going to be a screen.
I think they're going to go with face unlock again
Uh-huh.
with the Pixel 6, but there
And
won't be a notch. It'll be just a giant bezel at the top.
Okay. And
And-
it's going to have the second generation waving gestures, just to really
Yes,
throw everyone
this time
off their
solely
game.
will be good, and it'll have 3 cameras on the back.
And
Or-
it's gonna have a headphone jack that instead of having the headphone jack go this direction into the phone, it's going to go this direction into the phone.
It goes in the front.
You
Right.
plug it in the screen.
Actually,
what other
knowing
things can they
Google,
do?
they're gonna be so stupid about it that they'll just have a dual camera, but it'll be ultra wide and telephoto. And then using AI and machine learning, they will make a standard lens that's virtual that just punches in and then enhances the quality. That's what they'll do.
That's totally
I'm
what's going to
calling it.
happen, though. You are calling it right there. They're going to have a flash on the front like the Duo because that was one of the best
Front-facing
features.
flash that you can
middle
turn
of your
on from the
chonk
lock
bezel.
screen. Yep. Oh, Google.
Oh, I love
You're
Google. It's
silly.
so good content,
Crack me
though.
up.
Like, they're so much fun to talk
I'm
about.
glad the event was only 30 minutes.
I didn't watch
That
the
was
event.
nice.
Neither have I had any incentive to watch the event. So, was it
It's
good?
pretty
Should I
short.
watch it?
No, but it was
Okay.
short. So
Cool. What
I
was
laughed
the
at a
biggest
few
gaffe on
points.
screen? Because like Google always has gaffes on screen where they're like awkward presenters or
there was really bad editing when. Oh yeah, there was this audio expert they had in because they were trying to. It was a virtual event. Obviously, it was filmed. They were trying to do a dub DC type thing, and they had an audio expert come in and listen to the Nest audio to tell us how good it sounded, which was hilarious because they
What
even
did he do?
addressed it. They were like, "So you're probably wondering." How are we going to convey sound quality over a virtual event? And I was like, I don't know. You're going to convey sound quality over an in-person event. I mean, Samsung tried that. It didn't work.
still not
But
for
the
sale.
guy, the funny thing is, he didn't just like sit next to it and listen. He like leaned his head into it. Like the speaker is sitting there and he like leans close to it and puts his ear next to it and he just goes, that sounds good. That sounds really nice. Like
just sounds
that part of the event was pretty hilarious, I'll admit. And the editing was very choppy because clearly the interviewer and the guy they were interviewing were not in the same room, but they kept wanting to. They didn't want to do like what we're doing right now with just one angle split between two cameras. They were like constantly cutting to him and then both and then just one, but then them with a gray border and then both with full screen. And it was like
And this
the
was
editor didn't know what to
pre-recorded?
do. Oh yeah, it was
my
even on YouTube. It was called a premiere, not a live stream.
Oh my gosh.
So they used the premiere function. So you know it's pre-recorded. But
Cringe.
yeah, it was that part was pretty funny. What else was funny? That was about it. I didn't laugh at much else. There was a section where they were talking about Chromecast and Google TV, and they showed just like 5 minutes worth of Netflix ads on the Nest Hub Max, that speaker with the screen you were looking at.
Yeah.
It was just a camera pointing at the speaker with the screen displaying Netflix commercials. They just
Netflix
held on it.
commercial. Oh my gosh.
Static shot for about, it probably wasn't 5 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Oh, they also announced all of the TV channels you can get with YouTube TV, and they had this guy list every channel in alphabetical order in a wrap.
What? Like 20 of them?
So it was uncomfortably long. I think it was like 80 or 90 channels that he just went through. He's like ABC, alphabet, and he
way.
went all through the A's, all through the B's. I mean, he was a
my
fast
gosh.
rapper, but they just held on it for so long that
They
it was just
rapped?
kind of uncomfortable.
like
Yeah,
that
he
kind
was
of rap?
he was singing it like a song, like all the different channels, and it was they just kind of held on it a really, really awkwardly long time. I was like, okay, we get it. Okay, we get it. Okay, stop, please stop. Like he's just going through the A's, and it lasts like 15 seconds, and I was like, oh God, is he gonna do every channel? And then he
he?
gets to the B's, and I'm like, oh God, he is. He's gonna actually go through alphabetically. I guess they were trying to emphasize that you get a lot, but
well, it's only
just came
$40 a
across.
month, so I would hope that they, would get you something.
it really
That's
just
funny.
came across as awkward. But you know what's funny? I think there's some dead links on their page.
Really?
I was at this. I was scrolling through their Made by
Send.
Google products,
Yes.
and I clicked. At the very end is a Google Home Max,
Okay.
which I still have, and I clicked on it, and it opens a dead page. There's nothing on it. It's just empty. Someone else should try this too.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Google.
They also have the Google Home still there, which I thought the Nest Audio was replacing.
Yeah, I thought that.
But it's still listed, and if I click on it, this page is still there. They still have the pictures, but it says no longer available. So you can read about it, but there's a big button that just says you cannot buy this. Thanks, Google.
Google. And we trust them to run our search engines. That's why I use DuckDuckGo. Sponsor for this week's episode. Switch to DuckDuckGo. They have dark mode. You can do exact searches with
Not
exclamation
actually.
points. Do you still use Google, Drew?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
They're not a sponsor. DuckDuckGo
Turn to
is
the
not a
dark
sponsor.
side. No. No.
If they want to sponsor the podcast, I'll switch to them. Sure. But thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next week, hopefully with a Randy and with an Apple event coming up. Stay
Hopefully
tuned.
an Apple event. Yes.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.